Thanks for joining us for another episode of Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover. We're here to review Week 15 in the NFL, a seismic week, lots of big results, and lots to look forward to the rest of the way, but it felt a big week. I'm, of course, joined by my two co-hosts, as usual, to review the action. Byron, Joe, gentlemen, how are you both doing? How were your Week 15s? Oh, dear. You can't both be on mute. That's fucking incredible. Starting the episode with a double mute.
Well, you unmuted me, but I went to mute myself and that remuted me because it wasn't doing things for StreamYard. You've screwed me. I'm doing fine. Better than Dallas, putting up some fight in my life, other than Dallas, who are just rolling over and having the bellies tickled, / battered by JJ McCarthy. But yeah, fun Sunday, up until Sunday Night Football, certainly. Nice week. A bit bummed out that a lot of the races are kind of done. Got some still to play for, but feels like we're getting to this stage, like Week 14, Week 15, the last couple of seasons now, where things are wrapping up a little too quickly for me, which is a bit of a shame, but we still get some great football out of it. So,
yeah, so we've got some division races alive as a result of what's happened. Feels like the playoff teams are almost, there's probably just one or two that can potentially crash the party at this stage.
Yeah.
But that's about it. But yeah, still plenty to look forward to, of course. Joe, how are we doing? Big week. Big win for your Niners, which we'll get to as well. But yeah.
It was a fun week. Yeah, like Byron said, it feels like some of the results were... I wanted to get rid of some of the teams who were just... I was like, oh, they're going to be annoying where it's like in the playoff hunt. But there was a few teams I was hoping for wins just to make some exciting. And yeah, it was a bit of a disaster in terms of superstar injuries and injuries all around, which I think there was like a spell of a good 1 hour where I think I kept texting saying this player's injured, oh my god, this player's injured, and one of them got back up, which was good if you're an LA Rams fan, but it was certainly some people took some hits this week.
Yeah, big comeback for injuries this week in the NFL, and we'll talk about the big ones as they happen in each game. But let's get to our game of the week, or game in focus, and it's the AFC East clash. Bills against the Patriots. The heat is on in the AFC East. Pats mischance to close. Bills rally from 21 points down to topple the Patriots and move one behind with 3 games to go. Very importantly, I think the Bills have the tiebreaker, which is very, very important the rest of the way. Lesson learned. Is this a lesson learned for the upstart Pats, or is it a sign that it's too much too soon? The Bills ran out 35-31 winners. Yeah, the Patriots were dancing all over everybody else 15 and 20 minutes into this game when they were 21-0 up. All those horrible Patriots fans came out the woodwork, declaring the dynasty's back, etc., etc. And then in the second half, the Bills just continually ran it down their throats. Josh Allen made great plays, and they dominated the second half. What did you make of Bills Patriots?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether we say it is too much too soon. Is it a lesson learned? I mean, is a lesson that Josh Allen is a freak and can win any game from almost any situation? I'm not sure that's a lesson that we needed to learn, as opposed to like it was one of them weeks. I don't know how much wrong the Patriots did. They were poor on offense in the second half, especially. Obviously, had the Trevion Henderson incredible touchdown run late in the middle of the fourth quarter. I think it was actually. I was going to say late in the third. That's all it felt. But yeah, credit to the Bills, just came firing back. And I think in the preview kind of said, if Josh Allen is Superman, they win the game. If he's not, the Patriots probably win the game. And that's how the first half played out, and that's how the second half played out. I think they're probably fairly evenly matched teams, but, is there a bigger you can't stop me than Josh Allen in the league right now? I'm not sure there is. Lamar Jackson's having a slower season and he doesn't look recovered from injury. Drake May has been very, very, very good. Matthew Stafford is rightly MVP favorite right now and very, very good. But I think just the ultimate, like, F you, I'm going to win this game is Josh Allen in the league. And if he goes berserker mode, if he goes Superman, it's tough to see anyone stopping the Bills in a one-on-one contest. How that plays out the rest of the season, I think, is just a wait and see, because the Bills are a week-to-week team, as most teams in the league are this year.
I would say with like Josh Allen, I think what helps as well, especially playing in probably New England, in Buffalo, in them kind of games where he's like, it's 11-man team, you have to take account of Josh Allen. It feels like a lot of other quarterbacks is you're playing with 10 and your quarterback, Drake may do some good rushes, but if you try and plan and stop that, I feel like you can stop that easily. While Josh Allen, you can try as much as you want to try and stop him, and he still finds a way to get it going. So I think that Bills have that such an advantage, and I think that's why it's again huge for them to get that, to win this division in order to play in them situations. But when you look at Patriots, probably Denver's going to be cold as well. Maybe Texans can sneak that number one, or Jags, you don't have that kind of advantage. But yeah, certainly there's a few cold places where Josh Allen and the Bills can run it down the defense's throats.
Yeah, I think, like I say, it was very much tale of two halves, but I thought the Patriots just lived off those huge explosive plays that they've got, whereas in the second half, the Bills just had that just time of possession and just constantly held it. And while they did have another one of those home run hits with Travion Henderson in the second half, what the Patriots weren't able to do was just possess the ball and keep the lead and run time out of the game. And they just kept giving it back to Josh Allen, who, does the things that we know he can do. He's the biggest comeback win in Gillette Stadium. Yeah. Setting records as he continually does at the time. And for the first time, even though he told us it happens all of the time, Josh Allen was caught on camera throwing up and says if he doesn't throw up enough before the game, happens during the... Should we hear Josh Allen tell us about this? Let's have a little listen to Josh Allen telling us about this. This is the weirdest story out of the game, I think, the back end of one this week.
If they don't catch it every game, I don't know. Like it basically happens every game. If I don't get enough out pregame, it usually happens at halftime. If I don't get enough at halftime, it usually happens in the third or fourth quarter. And that's just, I don't know why I do it. It just happens. And it's due to nothing else, but other than just like a weird feeling, just got to get it out.
Even Josh Allen gets nervous as well. I didn't realize the video had him throwing up. I thought it was just the press conference. So apologies for everyone on YouTube that just watched that.
Are you taking no Paul for your 4-4 challenge if you do lose it and you attack or Bell that if Josh Allen can throw up midway through the challenge, then you can too.
So can I, yeah. Shout out, thank you to Dan Feats from Buffalo Plus for the post game conference. Yeah, just bizarre little thing that happened this week. Any more? Bills 10-4, one behind the Patriots at 11-3. And as we say, Bills have got a tiebreaker. I think it's they just have a better record in conference is the result of where they are. So that would be the tiebreaker as things stand. One more Pats loss and the Bills win out, and it's the Bills who make it 6
would it not be
in a row.
Would it not be in division? Is it division before conference? I'm just thinking because the Patriots have still got 2 in conference.
It is, yeah.
Dolphins and Jets. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I think it's head-to-head division conference, I believe. I'm not 100% though. And truthfully, I dare say, the way the season's going, it might not even end up mattering. Because, I totally think...
It does make next week so big for the Patriots, though, against the Ravens, because you think they've got the Jets, and you never know how the Dolphins got on if they beat the Steelers on Monday Night Football. They could still be in it, but yeah, it's that Ravens game's the massive one now. And I think I saw the fact where with this Patriots team, it's the first time they were down in the fourth quarter since week 3 against the Steelers. They've always been up the last 10 weeks. Obviously, all of them they won. So it was a time for them to show. I think it just were very high on the Patriots. And when you look back at all the teams that have played in that 10-game stretch, other than the Bills, we see what the Falcons and Bucks are doing now and what the Bengals are. It's not as impressive, but you only can beat people who's on the schedule because I think they've had far the easiest schedule in the league. But they kept it close. Like I said, it's that weird thing with Henderson. Was it did it negatively impact them scoring that touchdown so quickly? Just being the defense being on the field for so long. Then it's only 24 seconds and Allen's on the field again. That if they did a slow drive, took 5 minutes off the clock, would that have been any different? But who knows? But it feels right that they're both on 1-1, and who knows? We'll probably see them in the playoffs against each other again.
Yeah, a little bit sad as I took that Patriots 7-2 to win the AFC East earlier in the season, and you just want to kind of get it done sooner rather than later, to get that in. So we'll see, and hopefully get to the next few weeks for me selfishly. Anyway, let's move on to our Spotlight and takeaway games. And it's Byron first up.
And then there were two. We had on to Baltimore versus Pittsburgh for the AFC North. Cincy come up very short to split the series with Baltimore. Baltimore win with a shutout without needing to get out of third gear. An underwhelming end to the Cincinnati bounce back. 24-0 in Cincinnati. Cincy moved the ball fine. Both offenses moved the ball fine, but ultimately it came down to a 24-0 win, but a pick six in the red zone for the Bengals. And that was kind of their big takeaway. And I think that was kind of the big kind of stake through the heart of the team. They never really got back from that. And it always felt like they might, because they were moving the ball fine. But ultimately, they just didn't have it. I'm going to talk about like the killer instinct there. They just couldn't get in the end zone. And ultimately, that's what cost them. I thought one of the most heads-up plays of the season came in this game as well. Kyle Van Noy handing off to Alohi Gilman for the interception, pick six. Van Noy intercepted it and kind of handed it to Gilman, and he ran the rest of the way in. He can run a bit faster than Kyle Van Noy, so I thought it was really smart. But I think that's the Bengals have come out and said Joe Burrow will play out the season, but the season is done. They can't make the playoffs. And yeah, we're down to 2, Ravens and Steelers for the division.
Yeah, I think this was rough watching, especially you were expecting, we've seen over the last couple of years, big high scoring games between these two.
Yeah.
So it ended up being a bit of a dud on Thanksgiving, and then we kind of got it again. And yeah, I mean, yeah, Ravens just getting it done. It wasn't pretty, but I suppose it's just staying alive at the minute, isn't it? And that's the aim of the game. You're just sort of hoping that they find a way to get moving offensively, properly with Lamar and Derrick Henry and all that jazz. But it just doesn't seem to be getting much better. Zay Flowers had a. No. You see good and bad from Zay Flowers at times as well. And you saw kind of the best and worst for him in this same game, just kind of coughing up one, and one that should catch that ends up being picked, and then a great touchdown reception. Yeah, it's just not convincing. Kind of, I think I'm giving up on that they're going to get right and be a danger.
The idea of Baltimore being like a buzzsaw in the playoffs and it all clicking just seems so far out. Like, Lamar Jackson went 8 of 12 through the air. And he got 2 touchdowns off it, 150 yards. I mean, not terrible from a per amount throwing perspective, but that's a Justin Fields stat line. That is a quarterback you don't want throwing the ball stat line. And it's hard to quibble because they won 24-0. But you're right. They just look like a team that's kind of went through the motions against a really poor, especially a poor defense. I know, again, it's hard to hold the defense to blame when the offense put up 0. But yeah, Bengals look done. Ravens just do not look much better, even in a big win on numbers alone.
Yeah, I would say I think wasn't it like the coldest game in Cincinnati on record at the beginning? So you got to take that into account, and shame on the Cincinnati Bengals organization not even taking the snow off the seats for the fans. And I'm just curious, like with everything what Joe Burrow has been saying the last few days, I wonder if he's obviously he was going to sign that contract. I know everyone keeps saying, well, he didn't have to sign his contract, but they would have kept him because it's Joe Burrow. They would have found a way.
Franchise him forever.
Exactly. So, but when you look at the record, I don't blame him. It's more the organization. That's someone who is such a good quarterback that is 41, 31-1 in regular season. While at Bengals, it just feels like the organization just hasn't set up well to have this superstar quarterback, which he took you to a Super Bowl. But other than that, it's just not been great. And I can't really see them changing. I can't see them changing head coaches just because what the organization is, and they can change the defensive coordinators around as much as they want. It's it's just not great.
Yeah, 3 years in a row that they're going to have missed the playoffs after getting to a Super Bowl and AFC Championship game.
And it feels a little easy to say there's a certain Andrew Luck vibe to this with Joe Burrow now, because he seems fucking kind of worn down by football, which is awful because he's so good. But you see him, especially his press conference last week and then speaking after the game last night, he just looks fed up and looks done in with it. And I can understand it, like you say, 3 years with no playoffs. And he's such a special player. They have one of the best 5 receivers, in football, one of the best 5 quarterbacks in football. Those are so important. And every year it's just, you're going to get injured because your line stinks and your defense is going to keep you out of games.
Yeah, I was trying to find it. I didn't bookmark the tweet, but You talk about Andrew Luck there as kind of the comparison. I feel like I think you just get not necessarily with football. I think he's just fed up with Cincinnati, I think, and it might be a divorce at some point. But I read somewhere, and I think that's right. He's already taken more sacks than Andrew Luck did in his career, and Andrew Luck retired because of the beating he took.
I'll tell you who might be going like, hey, we have 2 first-round picks next year. How would you fancy going to LA, Joe? We'll give you all our first-round picks through fucking, the end of time. Come and replace Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, and I think a fact I tried to mention last week, but I've actually got it this time. In games considered a shootout where both teams score 30 points, the Bengals are 1-7 since the 2024 season. So, it's not like he's not doing his job, he's scoring the points. It's just a terrible team in general.
Excellent. Right, let's move on to our next one. And Jordan, if you're going to surprise me by which one we're going to next. It is my spotlight and takeaway game. It's the Broncos 34, the Packers 26. It has to be seen to be believed. 11 wins in a row for Bo. Denver find a way yet again and send Green Bay packing with devastating injuries on both sides of the ball that could curtail their season. Let's start there then. Obviously, it started with Christian Watson going down. Obviously, he's been great since he's been back from injury. As that kind of deep threat for the Packers. He went down, kind of landing on his arm under that pass, the one that Pat Satan intercepted. And then to add insult to injury, Micah Parsons went down, non-contact knee injury, later to be confirmed to be a torn ACL in his left knee. Before we get to kind of the game itself, can the Packers possibly overcome losing Parsons and Watson?
So Watson looks like it's not as bad so they could possibly even play against the Bears. So it's not a long-term injury. And I know Tom, one of the offensive linemen, I don't think he's out for. I don't think he's out for the season. But that Parsons that's huge because he feels like that Aaron Donald of the Rams defense back in the day, where he just brings everybody up to a different level. We always talked about the Packers of the last few years that it was always the defense what let them down in big spots, and having Parsons getting that superstar to be on your line to make them big players when it really matters was going to edge the Packers over the edge. And even in this game, it's not like they were shutting out Broncos while he was on the field, but it just feel like it took the stuffing out of them. And I just worry when it's that playoff, like I said, when it's the Aaron Donald that when they won the Super Bowl that year, he destroyed the 49ers line to sack Jimmy Garoppolo, and then he did the same in the Super Bowl as well. And you just need them kind of players to make them big players, and Parsons was that guy on this team, and he frees up their other linemen as well. I think that's what's huge when he's getting double, triple teamed. He frees up Gary and the other D linemen. So I think that Parsons one, I think that's ruined their Super Bowl chances. I think they'll still make the playoffs and they might win 1 or 2. But I think when they play teams against the Rams, the Seahawks, when you need them big players, that this is when they'll feel it the most.
Yeah, tough one, horrible to see. Parsons go down, and you just kind of knew straight away when you saw nobody. There was nobody close to him, really. Obviously, when he steps out and the shin go, it's a horrible one. And bit weird, bit of a flip one, this one for the Broncos, because we're used to seeing maybe kind of the defense keeping them in games, and then eventually they get going offensively. But actually, the Packers scored on the first 5 possessions against the Broncos. Not something we really see against this Denver Broncos defense. And actually, Knicks, instead of it being kind of the fourth quarter heroics, had a pretty solid game throughout for 4 touchdown passes. And they were down by 9, 2 possessions after halftime, just after halftime. And he sort of led them in the end to, again, so it could be a comfortable win. They kind of had to play an extra. It's just a weird way to kind of ice it. But yeah, I think kind of we saw, excuse me, Knicks have a better game quarters 1 through 4 that we've not seen, and again shown kind of a different way to win, and they've almost seemed to have done that every single game on this 11-win run. They're 12-2. They're in pole position to go get this number 1 seed. They're the team to beat in the AFC.
It's tough to say. I will say, obviously, they had number 1 seed, but on a week-to-week basis, they win to win. Not so much this week, I will say, but they seem to win games in such weird ways that I do kind of struggle with just saying they are the team to beat. I think on a one-on-one game, wherever it was, truthfully, but am I picking the Bills or the Broncos? I'm probably picking the Bills. Am I picking the Texans or the Broncos? That's a really close one. So they're certainly in that conversation. I'm not saying they're not the team to beat, but I'm not necessarily like proclaiming them the team to beat. I think they're certainly in the conversation. And I think the defense continues to, play at the level we expect it to. So as long as Bo Nix can keep things trucking along and they can keep, staying in games, there's no reason to write them off, certainly. Obviously, they've just won again. I just don't know if they're a kind of juggernaut team. But again, I said it a lot. I think we've been saying it for like week 2 or week 3 this season. I don't know if you need to be this year to win a Super Bowl. So it's a great opportunity for these teams who maybe weren't a contender coming into the season necessarily. Second-year quarterback who I don't think Bo Nix has had a ton of fanfare, and rightly so for a lot of it, but perfect opportunity to go out there and grab one. I did just want to touch on, you mentioned Zach Tom being out. I had to look up because, again, they lost the game. In games that he's either missed entirely or played less than 50% of snaps, they're 1-2-1. In games he's played, they're 8-2. He's so important to that team. I really struggle to see the Packers as a genuine contender now with no Zach Tom. I think that's going to be a long-term one, and Mike Parsons obviously a long-term one. Yeah,
it feels like we're at the point where it's Packers, Lions for that last spot. I think that's kind of where we're at. I think probably big winner, and we'll get onto them. I'm sure it's one of the games we're going to talk about. Big winner this week for the Bears, but it feels like it's Packers, Lions fighting out for that last spot in the NFC, and someone's going to miss out.
So it just says Zach Tom is not structural damage on his knee, so he's avoided long term. So again, he could be a week to week kind of person, be back in the playoffs. That's very positive.
Fingers crossed
for them. But I think this is the first game where I've been like, Bo Nix has shown something. I think he's shown obviously he's been a capable quarterback, but I think he won this game, especially with being, like you said, down 2 scores, and he showed what he can do. I don't like how they went on downs twice in a row. Especially that last one as well, giving it to the fullback. And if the Packers had gone all the way down and scored that and et cetera, that would have been a terrible decision on Sean Payton's side, I would say. But I think, especially in the AFC, I think there's a few like NFC teams like the Lions who are currently outside the playoffs. If they win the AFC, you'd be like, they'll be one of the favourites to get there. I think the AFC is certainly the weak or so. And it makes next week against the Jags, who feels like another one of them teams who could be claiming to get that number 1 seed. And we'll see how they play again. And then they got the Chargers, so they've got 2 playoff teams coming up, and then the Chiefs, which is certainly been it's going to be a lot easier game than it could have been.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Packers have got the Bears, as we mentioned, on Saturday night as part of our Saturday night doubleheader this week. So many games we have to talk about and bet on in week 16. Let's move on to our next one, Joe, which is yours.
Detroit run out of gas in the Hollywood Hills. Rams passed audition by putting on storming second half performance against troubled Lions. Injury to leading man could hamstring box office potential. This was a really exciting game. I think there was over 900 yards of offense with both teams. The Lions came out storming. I think they played a perfect first half when you look how they went into half 24-17 up, and they're up by 10, and you had Aiden Hutchinson intercepting Stafford and nearly taking it back, looking like a tight end out there. I don't know why he kept turning around. He could have made it if he didn't turn around so much, looking around, but they managed to get a touchdown straight away. And they had a great setup, and they were picking on the Rams secondary, which is probably, like, other than their special teams, which seems to be fixed now, probably their weakest part of their team. And the Lions were torching them, especially the wide receivers. When you look, Amon Brown had a good game. Jameson Williams had 7 catches for 134 yards and 1 touchdown. He had another great game. He suddenly has turned it on the last few weeks since he got his contract. But the Rams do what the Rams do, and Stafford, just after that early touchdown, just went on a roll, and it felt like there was nothing this Lions team could do to stop them. Obviously, Puka Nacua, again, talking about the wide receivers for the Lions. Puka Nacua, 9 catches for 181 yards, no touchdowns. So Kobe Parkinson, another 2 touchdowns. And yeah, just as the second quarter started, the Rams went field goal, touchdown in that third quarter. And it felt like once they got the 10-point up, that was it. And yeah, I think the Lions, their run game probably cost them this game. They just couldn't get that going. I know the Rams have a great defense and they were passing all over them. But then when the Rams changed up at halftime, changed what they're showing the Lions couldn't adapt back. And now they're 8-6, two games behind or 1.5 behind the playoffs. It's not looking great for them, but the Rams just doing Ram stuff, and yeah, super impressive from Stafford again and everyone around. And yeah, as the headline said, yeah, Devontae Adams looks like he's done. That hamstring did look serious, and obviously he came into the game nursing that hamstring injury. I think the only good thing is when Nakua went out, I thought he was done as well when he suddenly just collapsed, but it was apparently cramps. And he managed to come in a few players later. So, yeah, makes Thursday night a super interesting, one of the games of the season coming up. But yeah, the Rams just did what they have to do and show why they're probably the number one team in the NFL.
Yeah, the Devontae Adams one, it was like the classic Olympic sprinter one where the hamstring just goes, and yeah, it was obviously grim to see, but you have to find different ways to do it. But I feel like the Rams, they just don't panic, did he? Even kind of they got down 10 in the second quarter. They just don't really panic, and just found a way to get a sneak 3 at the end of the second quarter, and then just kind of push on. Then there was kind of just a moment where they started getting a little bit of pressure on Goff, and then that was kind of it, really. These Lions just kind of struggled from there on out. The D-line kind of took over the game, completely shut down the run, and yeah, that was kind of it, really, and it became a real struggle for the Lions, and yeah, 41-34. I think it sort of came on where there were 2 scores down, one thing scored relatively late. So yeah, 12. What the Rams 11-3 heading to the Seahawks, who were also 11-3, 8-6. The Lions, and the Lions, yeah, need a bit of help and probably need to win out, I think, to get into the playoffs. And I think if they miss it, it'd be a really, really disappointing season for the Lions to not kind of make the postseason, when this is a team we were talking about having big Super Bowl aspirations that there's a window for. I don't know, kind of feel like it's never fully closed, I guess, is it? But
I don't think it's fully closed, but I think there maybe will be some regrets. We said it over and over and over. You've got to strengthen opposite Aiden Hutchinson. And I'm not saying that's why they lost this game or why they're not going to make the playoffs, but it certainly doesn't help. And again, injuries on the back end of the defense, but everyone deals with injuries, like it has to happen. I just think that was such a glaring need all from this time last year, when Aiden Hutchinson was down, injured through, free agency, then through the draft. Like, well, they're going to address it. And they just never did. And, ultimately you can only paper over so many cracks over and over. And it's really sad because obviously we all love watching the Lions. We love Dan Campbell, and I did see a great Aiden Hutchinson stat I just want to throw out there. It was on Blue Sky. Sorry, I don't know who it was actually, but Aiden Hutchinson in just slightly fewer games, something like 53-58, has more career interceptions than Sauce Gardner. And if he would ever stop looking over his fucking shoulder, he might return one for a touchdown.
Shout out Colby Parkinson on that play, though, to be fair, for chasing him down. And shout out Colby Parkinson, actually, when we'll talk bets. I did not think it was going to be ended up with 2. But he was down at he caught one, got tackled at the 2, got tackled at the 1, had another one inside the 5, and then the one that he did score, I was convinced was going to get overturned.
I'm not sure why it didn't, but maybe it was
neither am I, but then luckily got on anyway. Shout out Colby Parkinson. I think that's 6 in his last 5. No, 6
something
in 6.
like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it gave me a boost in Scott Fish as well, which I'm very behind going into Monday Night Football, so I needed it. He was like a 40-point hero for me, so fingers crossed.
Shout out Colby Parkinson. Excellent. Yeah.
And what's crazy is probably like the 6th best offensive player on this Rams team as well. Doing that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right, let's move on. We've got the weekly overreaction. Looking forward to this one. Chargers 16, Chiefs 13. Ding dong, the dynasty is dead. Chargers kill Chiefs' last hopes. Chiefs miss the playoffs for the first time since 2014, but bigger problems lay ahead after Mahomes tears his ACL, putting dark clouds over 2026. Kind of thought maybe Gardner Minshew was going to find what he needed to win that game for us. for a second there, but you don't want to see as much as it's fun, kind of, piling on the Chiefs' misery. You're not wanting to see kind of the best players in the league go out with huge injuries. It's pretty sad to see kind of Mahomes, who's been playing hurt for a while. He always seems to be playing hurt, to be fair. We've seen him play with bad injuries and find ways to come through. But this one, there's no playing through the torn ACL, I'm afraid. And the Chiefs are done. Another just poor performance, I thought. Another close game that they fell on the wrong side of, but another poor performance. What did you make of it?
Disagree at all, yeah. Felt they were poor, and I don't know. I don't celebrate the Chiefs losing and the dynasty dying, what have you, but like, I'm kind of glad it's not being dragged out another week of this very poor team. Just like, oh, they're going to get over the line, and they're going to just squeak through another win, and they're going to just make it one more. It's like, this is not a playoff team. There is so many gaping holes that just kind of need a reset. I'm very interested to see what they do in the offseason, etc. But I know it is late in this year, but I wouldn't be betting against Patrick Mahomes comeback player of the year, I think, next year. I think he's one of them who'll rehab like a mother, and he will come all fucking things firing. I look forward to the next arc in Patrick Mahomes' story, because like Tom Brady when he came back from his torn ACL, incredible. I just kind of hope that we get to see that from Patrick Mahomes next year, as much as it might annoy people who don't like the dynasty of it all.
Is it really a comeback when you were basically getting eliminated from playoffs anyway? So
if it's going back from a torn ACL, I'm going to give him it, yeah.
Fair enough. But no, I think they're poor again. I think he needs to. I think Rashee Rice might be happy that Mahomes is not playing, because he keeps giving him hospital balls. Like it gets absolutely blown up. I think this Chargers team, I think, was impressive. Obviously, they beat the Chiefs in the first week. They're just out physical compared to the Chiefs, and I think that's, you've got to give that to Harbaugh, the kind of team he wants, that physical team that running down your throat. Beat up the oppositions, and it feels like the Chiefs have just gone away from what they were good at. I think it's been all year where it's just been a struggle. I don't think the defense is good, but not as good as it was once, especially with players getting older, and that offense is just. I expected them to be so much more improved this year on offense, because you could see it last year that it was a struggle, and they were going to change it up. They got to the Super Bowl and got blown out, but still got to the Super Bowl. And I've seen some people mentioning that Andy Reid should get fired, which I think is crazy from Chiefs fans with the amount of success you've had. But this is probably the year's going to be like under pressure. That if there's another year like this where this offense is like that, so I think Matt Nagy could be out, and I think he needs to change this team up altogether, because it just wasn't good enough. And on the flip side, the Chargers just managed to squeak out another win with a terrible all-line, with Justin Herbert getting destroyed nearly every single play. It's impressive that how many hits he gets. That still in this game, and managed to get a few of the interceptions. The interception before the one on Mahomes was incredible on the goal line, just to keep that 3-point lead. And again, it's that Chiefs inevitability, which is not being there this year, where when they had the ball, then you just expect them to score a touchdown. When Mahomes had it just before he got injured, you expect them to go down and score a touchdown and win this kind of games, which they've done throughout his whole career. And it's going to be certainly strange not having the Chiefs in the playoffs, or even in the AFC Championship. It's a fun and exciting one.
Trivia question then, of course. So I'll ask it now. We'll ask it inevitably on the AFC, on the Conference Championship preview episode as well. But this is going to be the first time since 2010 season, so January 2011, where Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady haven't been in the AFC Championship game. They've been in every single one since, or one of them has. Who were the two quarterbacks that played in that 2010 AFC Championship game?
Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning? I don't recall.
You've got one. Big Ben.
AFC. One have been Flacco, because obviously
it wasn't Jets, was it? It wasn't Sanchez, was it?
Oh, Mark Sanchez. You're right. Yeah,
Sanchez.
Great shout.
He's still in prison. I don't know after where he's. But, anyway,
I think he's a free man presently.
Oh, cool. Right. Mark Sanchez versus Ben Roethlisberger. 23rd of January 2011. That was last time. Yeah,
I mean, with the Phil Rivers renaissance, maybe we don't rule out Ben Roethlisberger coming back if Rodgers gets injured. Roethlisberger got put into like the Hall of Steel or whatever they call it yesterday. He looks better
Hall
than
of
he did.
Honor.
Sure, he looks better than he did as a player. He looks a bit svelte.
No.
I'm not ruling it out as not happened until I see it.
Yeah, just quickly on the Chargers, as I was coughing, so I'm going to actually share my thoughts. But quickly on the Chargers, feels like this defense has come around. Kind of at the start of the season, defense was really, really good. Went away. Now it's coming back when the offense is really, really struggling. And I think this defense is good enough to be able to carry them a little bit because Justin Herbert is a dog. With you guys just talked about it. He can find ways to win games, but that defense is looking a lot better. Maybe the Chargers are coming into this with kind of regaining the momentum that they had earlier in the season, and they could be really, really dangerous. Chargers 10-4, Chiefs 6-8. Let's go to our next overreaction, Joe. It's Byron.
Now the winning city, Chi-Town runs the north. Never mind the windy city. With Lions losing, Packers plateauing, the time is now for Chicago to seal first division title since 2018. A dominant beat down. Thought I said bear down. Dominant beat down and a bear down puts them in the driving seat. Bears 31, Browns 3. Not sure there's that much takeaway from the game other than the Bears looked really good and smashed the Browns, who were nowhere equipped to handle this game. The Browns, Shadur Sanders looked bad. So did the rest of the team, plainly, let's be fair. Caleb Williams had an incredible throw to DJ Moore for the touchdown. That's Josh Allen. That's just like, there's very few quarterbacks in the league making that play. They are a force to be reckoned with. They're going to, let's not get ahead of ourselves with the Packers, but there's a good chance they're going to have a home game in Soldier Field for the playoffs. They're playing really good football. Obviously, lost to the Packers recently. I think they'll be favoured at home next Sunday. And yeah, bear down for a home playoff game.
I think what's like huge is, yeah, I think this could have been like such a trap game for the Bears, that coming off that Packers game with the games going ahead, it would have been very Chicago-esque to then lose to the Browns and then lose to the Packers and then not make the playoffs and whatnot. So to beat them this heavily. And I think what's good as well, obviously DJ Moore having a good game. Luther Burden again, he was a leading receiver. Loveland catching the 4 for 63 with Adunze out currently, but he'll be coming back soon. That you get in your young players in Loveland and Burden, your rookies, they're coming on at the end of the season when you need them. And they've got what a playoff team needs is a good run game, a capable quarterback, and a defense who can take away the ball. Obviously, there's the stat where if they don't take away the ball, you're playing against Shadur Sanders, who should have had at least one touchdown. And I'm sure Paul will talk about in the fourth ball where it went to the Judy's chest and somehow it does it again. It feels like a Judy special, especially with Shadur. But, you know, on the Brown side, I think that's Kevin Stefanski. I think he's gone. When you think about starting the season with all his coach of the years, I think he's had it twice, but I think he'll be going. I feel like he's the next Giants head coach. It just feels like that will fit. And just, yeah, and Myles Garrett gets another 1.5 sacks. I feel like the half was a bit harsh because he got there first. And
yeah,
I feel like that should have been his, but 1.5 to go to break that record with 3 games to go. That's the only fun and exciting thing about the Browns. Yeah. But I'll give a shout out to Shadur that it feels like now that they're not desperate to get a quarterback next year, I feel they can hang around with Shadur and maybe aim to get a quarterback the year after with how the draft class is looking.
Yeah, that should be the one sole focus of everybody in the Cleveland Browns building. Get Myles Garrett 1.5 sacks. Only thing you need to be working towards. Get Myles Garrett 1.5 sacks. If that means Shadur has to throw 9 interceptions a game to give the other team the ball more, so he gets more opportunities to rush the passer, so be it. Just do what you've got to do to get in this record. He's going to get it. He's been on an absolute tear, hasn't he?
Just punt it every first down. Just punt it back to the other team. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much, yeah. But yeah, and yeah, the Judy, exactly. Obviously the over and Judy. Dear God, I mean, it's a touchdown, and you just give it. Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, nothing too much to be fair. I like the Bears. You know what? I've been doubting them. They showed me a lot last week against the Packers. I think they can be really good. Can they go toe-to-toe with, I feel like, the Rams? I don't know, maybe. Maybe they can.
I think they would have to make it their game. I think I feel like the Bears would only win one way, is to make it scrappy, turnovers, possession, all that kind of stuff. I think if it turns into a shootout, then against some of these teams, I think they'll not beat them. But Never know.
Fair enough. Bears 10. Oh, go on. Sorry, Baron.
Just when you mentioned Kevin Stefanski and all his coach of the years, do you know there's 3 coaches with more coach of the year awards than him? Only 3.
3.
I can just tell you if you don't want to guess, of course.
Yeah, go for it.
Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Don Shula and Chuck Knox. And then coming up the rear is Ron Rivera and Kevin Stefanski. There is a few more on 2, I will say, but it's funny that those 2 are very recent doublers.
Yeah.
That's the only 3 very legitimate Hall of Fame level coaches, and then Kevin Stefanski and Ron fucking Rivera.
But you still can see him going to the Giants. Them
again,
like
8
and 9
yeah.
with Jackson Dart and getting his third.
Absolutely.
Yeah, got to do.
If he gets 2 more, he'll beat out Belichick and Knox. Yeah.
Browns 3-11, Bears 10-4. Okay, let's move on. Joe, one more. Have we got one more? Yes, we've got your overreaction. I've lost track.
Yeah, you talked about the Broncos, the scariest team. I'm going AFC. Better saddle up. The Texans are coming. Should the rest of the AFC be worried that the Houston offense has gone from tumbleweeds to touchdowns? In the desert, on the opposite end, will the Cardinals scorch their staff? This is super impressive by the Texans. I know they're playing the Cardinals, who have just dropped off a hill the probably the last 4 or 5 weeks. But this offense is looking, average to good now. CJ Stroud's looking like CJ Stroud of old with some of the passes he is making. There's certainly one where he could have passed it 3 or 4 different places. It would have been a lot easier, but he managed to fit it through for a 16-yard pass. The rushing game, with all the injuries they've had, Jordan comes on. Jordan, 15 carries for 101 yards out of nowhere. Woody Max getting touchdowns when there's fumbles, and there was also Nico Collins looking incredible as a wide receiver, again with 3 catches for 85 with some long bombs. And it just took care of business against the Cards teams who, I think I was all for Gannon keeping that job. I've been impressed with him the last few years, but how it's going now, it's because I thought they were just going to use Murray as let's use Murray as the excuse. He's the reasons why it's gone like this and keep the staff. But, there's usually 6 fire-ins, and I was thinking 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was like, he's going to struggle to get to 4 fire-ins. I can't see many of these going, but now there's like how the season's ending, and I think Gannon's certainly in trouble with how it's going. And, we talk about Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, probably the 2 best players on absolute wall foot, and probably Crosby as well, give him a shout. But Trey McBride being on this team is shocking. Just trade to the Texans, that would be super fun. Not change to the team because he plays like a Texan, just how he just how physical he is, and and what he does. And I'm always adding in on the flex on the Fantasy Gameday because it's a cheap wide receiver, and he's better than most wide receivers in this league. It's just incredible. In over 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think he's got like a crazy record now with touchdowns and catches and yards. Would you play help?
So I'll help you. So he's on record watch the rest of the season. So he on yesterday he became the first tight end in NFL history to have 100+ receptions in consecutive seasons. He's bang on 100 now. He's Zach Ertz is 115 with the Eagles, I think back in 2016, 2017, I can't remember the year. He's averaging, he's going to see on the last so many games, he's been averaging about 7. So he's within a shot to beat that quite comfortably. And when you look at kind of the tight ends on that list, it's your Wittens, it's your Travis Kelce's, it's your Antonio Gates, Zach, a lot of incredible tight ends on that, like Hall of Fame players. And I also think it might be Dallas Goedert and not Zach Ertz. Is it Zach Ertz or Dallas Goedert who's got most receptions in a season?
Seems like it'd be Zach Ertz.
I think it is.
While you think that, it's very funny that, in the midst of all his Cardinals, like they've won 1 game since week 2. Do you know who that was against for? Yeah, I figured it must be. Yeah, they beat the Cowboys in like week 9, I think it was. And other than that, they've just get smashed every single week. Despite Jacoby Brissett looking pretty good, Trey McBride being a game breaker, Michael Wilson coming kind of out of nowhere. 1 win since week 2.
What's crazy, if Garrett gets his record, McBride gets a record, I think there's someone else with a record on teams who are like two or 3 wins. It's crazy. But
it's crazy.
talk about a good team, Texans. Do you think they're the scariest team? Like, if they don't win that division, like no one would want to face them with that defense and Stroud looking good.
Yeah,
Zach Ertz 116. Yeah, sorry, Zach Ertz 116 from 2018. Apologies. Sorry, Byron.
No, I'm saying like it'd be the Steelers, wouldn't it? Be the AFC North winners. So Steelers, Ravens. They don't want to see the Texans.
No,
they do not want to see the Texans. They'd rather see the Jaguars, who are probably going to win the division, look really good themselves. Yada yada. Nobody wants to see this Texans defense in the playoffs.
No, it's like they were 10-0 up before the Cardinals even got the ball, even had an offensive snap. And you cannot play from behind against this Texans team because that defense is just going to tee off on you.
And we did say
0-3 as well, which is crazy.
Yeah, we all wrote them off.
Yeah, we said in the preview as well, whatever happens, Jacoby's going to keep slinging it. First quarterback to go over 20 fantasy points against the Texans this season, Jacoby Brissett. He will keep slinging it. Does not matter.
Yeah. Fair play for hanging in there because he's taking a bit of a beat in Jacoby Brissett this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair play, he lands in a good spot. Let's move on to we're on to 4-4 challenge. Yes. Ended up just being a middle of the road week, really, didn't it? We rough one. I had some hope early doors, but that was quashed by Jerry Judy. Let's start with our favourite. So another AFC team that's again, we've seen all these AFC teams on streaks. The Jags are another one. 48-20 winners against the New York Jets. I had them 13-point favourites, and it was never, ever in doubt, really. Jags just overwhelmed the Jets from the start. It was a rout. Jags are 10-4. Trevor Lawrence looked great. The Jets were awful, and they fired Steve Wilkes, defensive coordinator, this afternoon. Which, I mean, it's just trying to put like a cup of water on a raging inferno, isn't it, really? Like,
I do think there is some sense in, though. Did you let Trevor Lawrence score 6 touchdowns against you? Pack your bag. Get out of the building. What the hell are you doing? You're obviously not a football coach.
I don't know if you saw the Steve Wilkes record. I think it's the last 5 years he's won and done with 5 different teams. He's either their head coach or defensive coordinator. 49ers being one of them.
Yeah.
We'll get jobs somewhere.
And he'll be gone this time next year.
Yeah. But yeah, I just think the Jags has just got so much positive momentum. And again, I've mentioned it. I love your washing machine's the same tune. It's massively Samsung washing machine in the background there that's just finished its load. But yeah, it's just crazy. I still cannot believe this is the same team that I sat and watched the Rams just absolutely demolish 7 weeks ago or whenever it was now at Wembley. I really can't. I thought they were just cooked from that point because they were just so bad. Lost Travis Hunter, like we kind of forgot about that, I think, a bit, haven't we? And yeah, Jacoby Myers has stepped up since the trade. He's been so reliable for them. You know what, we saw a little bit of Brian Thomas Jr. again. Finally, if they can get him going late in the season, again, he could be huge for them. Travis Etienne with 3 receiving touchdowns. And yeah, just an all-round great performance from the Jaguars, and we're strong on defense as well. And how much noise do you think they can make come January?
Well, I don't know if you've seen Tutin's out for weeks. He's got a fractured finger, which is... I'm looking forward to next week. I think I've always been, not the biggest Trevor fan, but he's certainly been great the last few weeks. I think he keeps doing his best performance, goes out. And they've got the Broncos next. I think that will actually show us how far this team can go. Because if they can do a close one with this Broncos team, they'll get blown out by that defense and Trevor looking like what Trevor did at the start of the season. Then they'll be like, okay. But if they can do that, if they can put performance, then, we've said this AFC playoff race is not a scary one. There's not a team you're like, oh, we don't want to play them whatsoever, Even against the Texans, they've had to beat them early in the season, and they always have weird games against them being in division. So, I'll be shocked if they're in the AFC conference if they're playing to get the Super Bowl, but strange things have happened, and they can certainly keep this roll going. Because I think if they beat the Broncos, and they've got the Colts and Titans left, so that's they might be the number 1 seed, which will be crazy at 13-4.
Yeah, Jags 3-point underdogs as we stand on the road in Denver next week. Interesting. See how that moves as we get there. Cool. Let's go to I had the Chargers my underdog. Obviously, they won outright. I had the over in Bears Browns, which we've discussed. I had the under in Titans Niners. This one 37-24. Are you happy that the Niners managed to cover in the end? Because there was a serious Titans backdoor cover going on, Joe.
Yeah, it felt that way. It felt like a lot of points to cover. But yeah, they managed to get the field goal right then just to cover. And I think it's how the 49ers are going to have to play, where that defense is not going to stop many teams that just can't rush the passer. I think they're actually the worst now statistically in the league of rushing the passer, just with all the injuries they've had. And I thought the Titans played decent. Tony Pollard run all over them, and Jeffrey Simmons catching machine in the end zone, 1-of-1 to get that touchdown. But the 49ers offense was basically more or less perfect. I think there was only one drive that didn't score points, and that's when Simmons got that the fumble on Purdy where he was just about to throw it, and that happened. But no, they look good. Ricky Pearsall came back. He caught his first ball, looked like he was injured. He had limped off the field with his knee, and I thought that's just typical 49ers. But he had a good game. Kittle had a touchdown, Kittle kind of game. Jennings, three catches, 37, 2 touchdowns. And they got some big plays. The running game is just what the running game is now, like 3 or 4 yards per play. But they looked impressive. And I thought Purdy, it was his best game of the season, and you can't ask for any more. And the 49ers are still in to get like the number 1 seed / winning this division. If the Seahawks beat the Rams this on Thursday, then the 49ers have it in their they own their destiny. Basically, if they win out, because they'll have the Colts, Bears, and they'll play the Seahawks. And if they beat the Seahawks, they would have done a double over them. And I think they beat the Rams based on some stuff, because they would have gone 6-0 in the division. Oh no, 5-1 in the division because they lost the Rams. So you never know with this team, and if they can get that, win the NFC West. But with all the injuries they've had, I'm just happy that they'll get in the playoffs, and we'll see what happens. They're a frisky team who I think could beat anyone, but could also get blown out because their defense is just not that good.
Yeah, Byron, because you're happy they covered, because that was your favourite as well. Myself. Now, I've got a quick trivia question for you as well, based on the Jeffrey Simmons touchdown, I guess.
Mike Vrabel.
Well, there's a bit more to it than that, but yeah.
Is it Mike Vrabel?
Well, that was one of the possible answers, yeah.
What was the question? Sorry.
Fucking Jeopardy here. This was just the 6th occasion, only by 5 different people. Someone's done it twice, since sacks became a thing in 82, that players had a sack, forced fumble, and a touchdown catch in the same game. So yes, Mike Vrabel has done it once.
I said TJ. I'm going to say JJ Watt.
JJ Watt has done it twice, and he gets
the refrigerator Perry.
No. Clue one you won't get. One's Barry Cross from 1982. Crossy. And the other one, defensive end that played for the Chiefs and Vikings.
Jared Allen.
Yeah, there you go.
Great list.
Well, I feel like you just spoiled the whole thing a little bit there. But yeah. I went 2-2 on my fourfold. Didn't really make up any ground at all. So yeah, 25, 33, and 2 for me. The walls are closing in.
Got the guests in the rear view now, though. So
yeah,
get Jimmy on for the Hot Ones challenge.
Joe, you had, and this is probably one of the games you should have talked about actually in a bit more detail. But you had the Seahawks as 13.5 point favourites, and boy, were they made to work hard for their win. Phil Rivers, by the way, this was awesome. I know he was obviously extremely limited, but this was awesome. And the Colts played it perfectly. I thought they did in terms, obviously, they naturally were, of course, they were going to be conservative on offense, try and run the ball a lot, play defense, and they did. They shut Seattle down. Obviously, Seattle got a bit better in the second half, but kind of shut that Seattle offense down. Give it to Rivers. Rivers don't make mistakes. He didn't make big mistakes. He managed the offense, just game manager role, kept everything ticking over. And there was the one bit where you go in, the game is now in your hands, Indianapolis. Go and win it. And sadly, they didn't. They opted to kick the 60-yard field goal, Blake Groupie, by the way, after how horrendous he was in New Orleans, shout out, nailed a 60-yarder to give them the lead, but it was just too much, and Seattle had enough to go kick the game win. I was just wishing Steichen to just be in the Colts. Go be aggressive there. You've got that in a position. You've got yourself in a position to win the game. You would have snapped somebody's hand off for that based on the situation. Take it, go win it, and they just kind of didn't. And yeah, I thought it was just such a good opportunity. But Phil Rivers, we're all worried about him. Joe, you were so worried that he was going to get carried out of there on a stretcher, and I thought he did brilliant.
Yeah, he was nearly carried out on people's shoulders, but I don't know how far they could have carried him. But yeah, this is like worst of both ways, where the Seahawks win, but only win by 2. I would rather just. But at that point, I was just like, rather the Colts win as a 49ers fan. And he's been able to be named the starter for Monday Night Football against the 49ers. So we get to see more of Phil playing in Indianapolis. So, but yeah, it was a rough going for Seahawks, but they turned it on with 6 field goals. A slight concern, but a win's a win. And they move on to Thursday without any major injuries. And yeah, that Rams game's massive now. So give it for that. And yeah, because I feel like the Colts was dead. Like, the Colts could be the 49ers. I wouldn't be shocked. And so they're still technically in the playoff race. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Just a quick bit of feedback, and surely Phil Rivers asked them this as well. The white does him no favors. The white does him no favors. Like, you've got to go with the blue. You've got to go with the blue, I think.
I do think amongst it all, though, maybe, I don't know about the coolest, but Phil Rivers coming in and throwing a fucking touchdown pass is one of the coolest moments of the season. Like, win, lose, draw, whatever else. This is a better output than they would have got from Ryder Leonard. This is a better output than you get from Max Brosman, the type. Fair fucks for him for going and doing it. I thought it was great that they showed his high school football team cheering for him in Oklahoma or Alabama. I forget where he's from. Alabama, I think, in fact.
Alabama, yeah.
I just thought that was really cool and a real human element to the NFL season, which we don't see enough of. And at this stage of the year, it's often negative stories of people blowing ACLs, etc., etc. So getting a rare human victory one, I just thought was really, really cool. Be nicer if he won the game, obviously. Ignore the interception at the end. It was garbage. He's got to throw the ball away. He doesn't want to throw it. And that's what happens. But I think much more ruin for Seattle than anything bad about Indianapolis. I thought this was a kind of a victory for Indy to come out in this kind of week and hold a team like Seattle in their building to 2 points. I think is a pretty marvelous accomplishment, and good on Philip Rivers for going out and doing it. I liked his quote at the end as well, like saying, I hope my kids and the kids I coach can look and say, hey, coach wasn't scared. I thought that was really badass and like a cool message to send out.
And he took some, I was worried about, anytime he was kind of under any sort of contact, I was worried about him, but he took it, he bounced straight back up. We known him as a tough player throughout his career, and yeah, just awesome, moment. And just, such a shame we couldn't get the full, complete story of him winning.
I'm curious how he's feeling today, though. At least he's got Monday Night Football to recover. He's got a couple of days in bed to finally be able to get out of the aches and pains.
I just hope that he's feeling better when he listens to this show and gets Paul calling him a little fatty when all he did was come out and play football to the best of his ability at the age of 45.
There's that Ben Roethlisberger meme from the training camp where he's just got all the eyes strapped. I feel that's what Phil Rivers looks like this morning. But yeah, shout out for Rivers. It was awesome. Cool. Next up, Joe, you had the under in Cardinals Texans, which we talked about, which was just nowhere near. You had the over on Sunday Night Football, and the Vikings beat the Cowboys to end their playoff hopes. Not completely, but really it is. 34-26, and JJ McCarthy was grittying all over AT&T Stadium. Let's start with the positives from the Vikings, I guess. 6-8, but obviously they backed up a improved performance offensively last week, and McCarthy was better against the Commanders and backed it up this week. He was 15-24, 250, 2 tutties, and he had obviously the interception to Quinn Williams, but he also ambled that one in, which Kevin wasn't impressed with. But yeah, what did you make of McCarthy's performance?
Yeah, I think it looked like a capable quarterback, and I think that's what you wanted, 3 or 4 weeks ago, if you told us this is how he's going to play the last 2 weeks, we would have probably laughed and thought, yeah, there's no way. But it actually looks like he's understanding how, like, there's always that weird thing where the game slows down and all that kind of stuff. But it does actually feel that way for McCarthy, and I think he needed like more games. And I think for the Vikings, who were technically eliminated before the game, just with some of the wins which happened, this is the best outcome where you just want the few games where he starts, looking like a good quarterback, which you feel like next year can certainly work off. And they're hoping for the connection between him and Justin Jefferson, which is still not quite there. But it's I'm sure that I'll click at some point. Justin Jefferson's too good of a wide receiver not to. This Vikings team did what they need to do after the defense played well against this Cowboys team, who it just felt something fell off, and it just felt so typical Cowboys to beat the Chiefs and Eagles and then lose to the Lions and Vikings, and the season ends with all that hype they had, and then suddenly just it felt like so flat this game. It felt like they just weren't there for the fight. The defense, I thought the front played okay, but they just haven't fixed the back end. And we talked about before the pod, you think Eberflus, he'll be one and done as well in Cowboys. And another George picking games where you want him to, after the week, what happened for him to just like step up and have that. We all bet on him. We all thought he would have a huge game and he would come out and get over 100 yards. And again, just wasn't quite there. I don't know from your for Cowboys fans' point of view, just did you feel like you felt flat? They just they weren't up for it, kind of thing, which is 100%. Weird to talk about an NFL team.
Yeah, go on, Byron, after you.
No, I was just going to say 100%. Friend of the show, RJ Ochoa, tweeted out just heading into the fourth quarter, I think, of like, this is when we're going to see what the Cowboys have in them right now. Like, the season probably is gone, but let's see what fight they have. Let's see what they're going to put up here. And it was, what did they put up here? Flat nothing, basically. Very demoralizing kind of end to the season. I don't think the record is horrendous, 6-7-1. I think going into the season, we kind of thought that they might be slightly better than that, maybe a 10-7, 9-8 team. But no, look at the season, 6-7-1 isn't horrendous from there, but I think it's just the way they've gone down swinging in some of these games. I made a joke earlier about, the Cardinals, it's the only team they've won since week 2 was against the Cowboys, and that was a very similar circumstance, I felt like, where they get up for the big games, and like the Lions just outproduced them. I don't think there was much shame in that one. But like after beating the Eagles, beating the Chiefs, like you say, these sort of games, I'm not saying this should be second nature, but if you get yourself up for the Eagles game as much as you do the Eagles and as much as you do the Chiefs, I think you'd expect that team to take care of business against the Vikings, and looking further back, some of the other teams have lost to. And I think Schottenheimer, I think overall you'd say positive year one for a man with no head coaching experience, who lost his franchise pass rusher, who's had injuries on defense, still has Kenneth Murray and still has Matt Eberflus on his staff. I'm still optimistic about year 2. You'd like to see more from Pickens every single week, but I don't necessarily think that's in his DNA. So it's not something I'm going to get hung up on, I will say. Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed by the performance. Kind of just laying down and taking the defeat. But I'm not going to overreact and say Schottenheimer should lose his job or anything like that. I think it's just kind of the season's going to peter away. And you just kind of say, well, it's not too far off the talent level of the team, truthfully. I don't think they are a playoff challenger. There maybe could have been a team who contended for the playoffs, but not a team that ever was going to be a Super Bowl winner. So it's hard to kill them too much. Just the lack of effort was frustrating.
Yeah, my last couple of bits and then we'll move on. But yeah, Schottenheimer, I think he's just going to learn through play calling and his head coach in terms of, I think he's just flipped he's just become real conservative, and I think he will. Yeah. The problem having Brandon Aubrey sometimes is that you become a bit conservative. And I know he missed 2 kicks, which is not obviously a great reflection, but you can get kind of those points. Sometimes maybe you don't push it as much as you should do. I don't want to risk not having the field goal attempt. I think that's happened in the last few games. But yeah, kind of I think Eberflus wasn't Schottenheimer's choice, and I think obviously he's been a good soldier because he was Jerry's choice, and he will get his way. So I will hopefully see Schottenheimer get his guy in. But there's absolutely no way Kenneth Murray should be playing in the NFL. Do you want to see another example of why that's the case?
Always.
This is insane. This is from Irish Cow. It's from Irish Cow. I'll give the quote. They recorded this off the telly. You can see it's got the Sky Sports tag on it as well, so it's not from one of our usual sources. But this is from, I think it's the CJ Ham touchdown, which is also insane that you'll have CJ Ham score a touchdown. But just watch this. Kenneth Murray's 59, so he's middle of the screen here.
Well, it looks good for 59. His number.
I mean, we'll do a bit of X's and O's. So you've got Kenneth Murray here a couple of yards in the end zone. You've got Addison in motion, McCarthy there behind centre. I think it's Mason there in running back, and CJ Ham here at fullback. Just watch where Kenneth Murray goes and watch where the Vikings score.
It looks like he was doing the gritty, that's how he was.
Unbelievable how bad he's playing. And he's continued to play all season long. And they traded for somebody. So shout that was from just Irish Cowboys, so Irish_Cowboys on X. We obviously recorded off the telly last night when they all stayed up and watched it. Yeah, just insane. Anyway, Joe, you're 1 and 2 at the minute and waiting on the Dolphins as your 3.5 point underdogs. Byron, you had the Bengals as your underdog. We talked about that game. You had the over in Raiders-Eagles, and the Eagles shut them out there, and they won 31-0. Can we take anything away from this from the Eagles in terms of, that might help them offensively moving forward? Even a little bit of just some good reps and some positive things offensively, or can you just discount that because it was against the rancid Raiders?
The latter.
Fair.
I can't remember any highlight from this one game. I don't think I saw anything. I can't remember any of it.
Credit to the Eagles, though. They got rid of the positivity rabbit and things have 1-0 since. So
they did, yeah.
They got the bunny bounce.
Yeah, the bunny bounce.
If Pete's not gone, it'll be a travesty, by the way. Pete needs to be gone now.
Fuck me. I can't remember the exact quote, but I read it this morning, or seen it this morning, of you shouldn't be judging them by the record, you should judge them by the effort. It's you just got embarrassed, by a team that's going through the motions, and he kept referring to the Eagles as the current champions, which is when you know that they're trying to stretch it out as they're still a good team. The Eagles are fine, but if you lose 31-0 to them, you shouldn't be coming out saying what a great effort.
It's back-to-back weeks as well. It's not even it's just a 1 week thing.
I'm sure Chip Kelly is sitting on his pace slip chuckling to himself as well, because it doesn't look like the offense is fixed.
Yeah, I wonder how many times the team has lost 31-0 because they've lost twice this year. So I wonder if it's
that's a great start.
And we had the Commanders got beat 31-0 last week as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent. Anyway, right, yeah, over obviously it didn't hit because the Raiders offered nothing. You had the under in Colts, Seahawks, which we just talked about, and you had the Niners covering eventually as a 12.5 point favorite, squeaked it through. You were also 2 and 2, so you're 3 behind Joe, but Joe's obviously got the game in hand, so to speak, on Monday Night Football. Jimmy, our guest from Gaelic Gridiron, he went 1 and 3. He had the Packers as his favourite, the Broncos won. Pats as his underdog, obviously the Bills won. Over in Rams, Lions, which did hit. And then under in Commanders, Giants. I think he got boned out of this one a little bit because this just got wild at the end of this game. From kind of just a game that was ambling along, Commanders were comfortably winning, and it just got a bit crazy. And then the Giants were driving to tie the game. It was, just an odd game, really, this one. Anything to do with Jackson Dart back as well. We came back against the Patriots last week, but off the bye. Tyron Tracy, a couple of touchdowns. Yeah, just ended up being a much funner game than it looked, really.
Yeah. Don't have much to add to it, truthfully. It was kind of fun, but it's just one of them games, two teams who are done for the season.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, Dan confirmed Jaden Daniels has been shut down for the season now, so it's Marcus Mariota the rest of the way. What Christmas Day game Netflix have picked? The Dunn Cowboys against the Commanders, who are shutting up shop.
Are the Giants in line for the number 1 pick? That's why they're just throwing the ball around when they receive the fumble. Just to
they currently have it, but I think on strength of schedule, the Raiders are anticipated to get it. I'm not sure how it works. They're in possession of it right now.
There we go. Giants Commanders 4-10. Well, the other thing, someone had to end their long losing streak. So these two had lost 15 straight combined coming into this one, and the Commanders obviously ended their 7-game losing streak. Yeah, that was the end of that. We don't really talk about that game. Let's go to our ATS picks. Yeah, not too much better for you two this week either. 6 and 9 could get to 7 and 9 for you two. I was 10 and 5. I think we're close to sewing this up now, guys. We've got kind of 3 full weeks to go, but close to sewing this up. I think really, if anything, this should be the competition we have that has the forfeit. If anything, this is probably the trickier one.
It definitely isn't the trickier one. I would just like to, as we get onto our first game here, though, rather than letting you braggadocious yourself all afternoon. Just a shout out for our friends at the Bucks UK. Charlie might not know how to spell, but he can pick a fucking game, lads. So don't come for little Charlie. You're going to pick the Falcons. He's a dog. He can't spell. He puts an extra C in there, but he also put an extra L in there for you as well, Tom.
We'll clip that. It's obviously great fun and great guys. But yeah, rough night for them really in the end, wasn't it? Falcons came back 29-20. Game feels such a long time ago. 29-28. Yeah. They were 15 down right in the fourth quarter. Pretty late in the fourth quarter. And the Kyle Pitts game. Who's going to pay a fortune for him in free agency?
Yeah, welcome to the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce's retired, and you are a Kansas City Chief. I presume he's going to get franchise tagged because it's not a huge number for tight ends, I don't believe. So I presume he gets franchise tagged, but it's fun to imagine he goes somewhere good.
11 receptions, 166 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
It was like a record, wasn't it? It's like the first tight end since Shannon Sharp to get over 150 yards, that many TDs, and all that kind of stuff.
First person on Thursday Night Football, only second player ever on Thursday Night Football to have 11 or more catches, 150 plus yards, and 3 touchdowns. The other being Jamar Chase, who I think was taken 1 pick after him in the draft. So similar outputs.
Yeah, absolutely. First time since 150 plus 3 receiving TDs since Shannon Sharp did it in '96. Great shout, Joe. I suppose the Falcons obviously ended a losing run, and they probably just needed a bit of positivity. How worried are you for Tampa? Because this isn't, in all seriousness, but laugh at the way the Bucks here. This is not looking pretty for them.
Especially when the other team give you 125 yards and 19 penalties as well.
That was outrageous. The one benefit is, though, the team they're competing for with the division we will get to on the ATS are also not looking too pretty. Nobody wants a division. I presume we're looking at a first-round bounce.
Yeah, I was going to play the Todd Bowles clip, but I didn't put my... How could you... what he delivered, which was just about... so I'll read a bit of the quote. So it starts about, you don't make excuses, and there's a lot of bleeps in this. You got to bleeping care enough where the bleep hurts. It's got to bleeping mean something to you. This is all bleeped out in the text. So I could just put in the swear words, but there's lots of swears. But he delivered it in such a manner where he did not sound like he was asked.
Yeah.
Like, if you're delivering that speech, you got to deliver it fired up. But he was just delivering it like he didn't give a fuck either.
We knew who the Falcons were, and we let him off the hook. That's what you need to be. Mm-hmm. It's very weird. Bowles is an odd guy, I think. He's a fine coach, but he never inspires this guy's got to lead you to the Super Bowl. It just never quite. I feel bad saying it because he is a good coach. He's done well over his years, but it just feels a little. I don't know. I don't think he enjoys that part of the job, I guess, is maybe how it comes across.
Yeah, you got a bit. I feel like we're getting bad Baker, especially in fourth quarters as well, because you can't throw that interception when that's what it is. And the last 8 games are 2-6. They 1-5 the last 6 games, and the only game they won was the Cardinals by 3 points. So it's a shocking run. But getting Evans back was massive because he just did Evans things for them before they just crumbled. He would deliver an expletive-laden message on the sidelines. I don't know if you've seen him in the last however many seconds of the game on the sidelines. He looked like he was
be a strong bleep button next to Mike Evans.
Yeah. Tampa have Carolina next week, which is the only other game we've not talked about. And a good one to finish on. Saints 20, Panthers 17. The Panthers were 17-7 up.
Yeah.
Fairly comfortable. Just didn't kind of put the Saints, just didn't kill all the Saints off. Then Tyler Shook kind of got going, came alive. I think the Saints have found the guy. He's had another really, really good performance. Played really, really well again, mistake-free. Some great throws, like a Stafford-style sidearm throw, which was beautiful. Made some really, really great plays. And it spread it around a bit. It was to Olave, it was to Vele. I think he did a really, really good job. Estime, yeah.
Audric Estime got cooking. I was pleased to see that.
Yeah.
Never underestimate him.
Very good. And we'll come up to the next gag or trademark that we need. And of course, all set up the game winner for Mail Bridges' own Charlie Smith. And surely the Saints are keeping him around now because, again, he did everything that was asked for him, delivered in the moment. And you know what I like most about his game winner as well? Before it split the uprights, he was turned around to the Carolina Panthers bench and cheered in the face. It was great. Loved it. But he spoke to the media afterwards on the actual plinth, on the podium. And just, shared his story. And it's just, again, a great one. Another one, just to think kind of, he's only kind of a couple of years into kicking a football, was a qualified primary school teacher. That's what he just finished up doing before kind of this up, before I thought I was going to kick some football. So really is a fantastic story. And let me think, Saints surely have to sign him because they can't send him back down to the practice squad without putting him through waivers now, because that was the third time, as Jimmy told us in the preview. And I'm sure they will sign him to the 53-man roster because, again, he's done everything that they've asked of him. He's done and he's delivered. And he delivered in a high-pressure spot as well. And I'm not sure. Obviously, Charlie hopefully isn't going to get cut. He will stay with the Saints. The Panthers should definitely be cutting someone today, though. Whoever nailed Tyler Shook as he was sliding, and that would have been, Charlie nailed a 47, that would have been like a 60-62, which is a much different kick, although it was down the middle and looked like it had been good.
It looked like it had made it, but it's a big pressure.
It's a different kick, isn't it? And just brain dead from...
Lathan Ransom.
Lathan Ransom, yeah.
And I don't think anyone's going to be paying that ransom anytime soon.
Just idiotic. And potentially cost the Panthers an opportunity to win. 7-7. And they've got the first dose. Ultimately, that's where that's coming. Do you think that could be the Sunday night football game we get at the end of this? Just imagine that week 18 Sunday night football game. The Panthers and the Bucks for the NFC South. Oh, what a bad way to finish an NFL regular season.
Winning in, though, isn't it? It's always got to be the draw.
Yeah.
Can you believe the Saints have swept the Panthers as well this year?
That's what I said in the offseason. They're going to fucking beat the Panthers 40-1, and they had to sneak in a win before it like little snakes.
Well, Saints have got 4 wins now, Byron, which is many more than the one that you said they were going to get.
All right.
But just feels like, again, maybe it's just a false hope December thing, but they're putting some bits in place, and arguably the most important bit, quarterback, feels like they can ride with Shook for at least a year.
I think even more than the Browns, the crucial thing is there's no panic to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
Because I think Shook looks much more settled and ready than Shedeur Sanders. I mean, he should do, he's 15 years older than him, but I just think Shook looks ready, and I don't think... I mean, maybe it's going to be easier for the Browns because they probably are going to have a new head coach, whereas I presume the Saints are going to stick with Miller, who I think has been really good. Even his play, even just like, I know they got the extended yards from the penalty. I thought it was such a smart play call to go quarterback draw, though, because they're not anticipating it.
Seen that play somewhere before. We've seen that play somewhere before. Didn't end as well.
So, I just thought that was real smart, and I think he's done a real good job. So, I think it just takes the pressure out from having to take a quarterback. If one falls into the lap they like, sure, but credit to Tyler Shook, because I was very dismissive of his chances of starting the rest of the season when he was put in, because I thought they're going to get him killed. And credit to him, he's improved week by week, I think.
Yeah, he's got 3 wins now, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think it's interesting that O-line will get, obviously they've got a lot of injuries on the O-line, so that O-line should get better, and they've got obviously a lot of draft capital. So should be in a good spot. Can they go get another playmaker and, you know, have them across from Olave and get a running game going, etc., etc.? Who knows? Right, that's it. We've just got any other ones that shout? A lot of single wins this week, but yeah, we've just got Monday Night Football coming. The Dolphins, we're all on the Dolphins, which means the Steelers are going to win by 4 or more. Excellent. Fantasy Game Day. We've ended up going a bit long. We were so far ahead of time, and then we've ended up going long talking about other stuff. So yeah, Fantasy Game Day winning lineup. We'll get there. Desperately trying to sort the screen out. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, so go and join the UK's best and fastest growing NFL daily fantasy platform, Fantasy Game Day. Go and use that promo code COVER. If you've not signed up yet, it's insane, really, that you haven't, but go sign up and you'll get a free entry after your first play. Winning lineup this week from Curlykins with 228.4 points. Also, Joe and Byron cashed their lineup. So, Joe, you finished 21st in the Sunday Stars £3 game, and Byron, you finished 30. I put it in the group, third, maybe?
Something in the 30s, yeah. 20s to 30s, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I was 106th. Not a great outing for me. But yeah, Nico Collins was the captain for the winning team, scoring 47. Trevor Lawrence with Tootin and ETN. ETN with 31.5. Lawrence 44.3. Diggs a bit quiet. Cortland Sutton with 24. Amon-Ra St. Brown with 41. And Dallas Goddard. I just called him Dallas Goddard then. Dallas Goddard with 25. So yeah. Again, there's only kind of Tootin and Diggs that didn't really hit, but pretty strong lineup, mainly focused on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any benefit to attacking the Jets who are about to fire the DC.
Maybe.
Who else did we shout? How many others did we shout out? Giving our
I don't think any others from this week. No, I think just Travis Etienne. Yeah, I mean, we had bad performances. It just didn't happen to end up on the winning lineup. I mean, I think that's important to say. I can't remember who we picked. I picked Jamar Chase. He had a great lineup, even though he didn't get a touchdown. You picked Jason. He had a good week, even though he didn't, wasn't captain material maybe, but he had a good week.
Pearsall did okay for the cheap price.
Yeah, Pearsall, 96 yards, 9, a lot of catches, yeah. So, I mean, still check out the Saturday slate, Saturday 10-minute tips.
10-minute tips, absolutely. That drops on a Saturday, and go join Fantasy Game Day now. Right, last bit of business before Thursday Night Football. Quick run through of our winning bets for the week. I think we're on 11, but you'll have to count them as I read them out. So, Joe, we'll start with you. Thursday Night Football, you started off with B. John Robinson, 150 plus rushing and receiving yards at 3-1 winner. You gave us San Francisco over 44.5, and the Commanders and Giants over 46.5 at both at 10-11. Byron, you give us the Browns under 6.5 points at 11-2. And we're so close to doubling that up with the Bears to win 2-0, but sadly it wasn't to be. But you had a nice at 11-2, 5.5-1 there. You also gave us Jalen McMillan over 25 receiving yards on Thursday Night Football. I gave you over 44 on Thursday Night Football, Falcons Bucks, Bills -1.5. Colby Parkinson, anytime touchdown scorer at 9-4 in Rams Lions. Chargers Chiefs under 41.5, and Jags -13. So 11 winning bets there with still Monday Night Football to come. It pays to listen to good teams with great teams cover.
Can I say, I think we should make a movement. I had Josh Allen 50+ rushing yards. He was on 51, and then he knelt down 3 times to get to 48. So I took that off. I won that one, and then I was like, "What the fuck?" I thought kneel down should not count as negative yards in the rush game.
I've seen someone earlier when I was checking through box scores. They brought the backup in to do the kneeling, and I think that's what teams should do. Mm-hmm. Especially when your quarterback's Josh Allen, who rushes a lot and is going to come the end of his career, shouldn't have lost 300 yards through kneel downs. It adds up.
It does. Right. Thursday Night Football, last bit. We touched on it at the very start. It's a big one.
It's 11-3 Rams at the 11-3 Seahawks. Rams are 1-point favorites. Over/under is 44. Who leads the way in how the West was won? With only 3 games to go, who takes a huge step towards the NFC West title and the number 1 seed for home field advantage? The biggest TNF game of the season. I have no idea in this one. What are you guys feeling?
Excuse me, sorry. A lot of talking. My throat is going. What I am feeling is an LA Rams victory. I think there was issues with the Seahawks offensive line that I think the Colts done well to identify. Abe Lucas didn't come back in after he went out during the game. Short week. Obviously, Devontae Adams, I presume, misses this game. We will see. They've said he's week to week, but they're really, if you want to be playing on Thursday. What I do like as a bet, 2 players who've come on strong throughout the season, coming down the stretch. I think we've said his name 48 times this show. Colby Parkinson, Blake Corum, anytime touchdown double, 11-1. Corum is taking more and more of Kyron Williams' workload and is looking good for it. Colby Parkinson's going to be pass catcher too this week. Obviously, we'll see what we get out of Jordan Whittington and or Tutu Atwell. But yeah, give me those 2 touchdown scorers, 11-1 as a combo.
Joe, what do you feel of the potential impacts for your San Francisco 49ers as well?
Yeah, I think this is more hope than... I think the Seahawks win this game. I think they'll go... I think the Rams will win the first game, so I think it'll be, again, another like split kind of game. Obviously, Dano got absolutely destroyed in this game, but the Seahawks managed to keep it close, and I think they keep it close again. And without Devontae Adams, who takes away, you have to put 2 defenders on him, especially out in the red zone. I think that's huge, especially when you're playing a great defense who can probably cover more of the running game and now the tight end. So I'm going to Seahawks winning a low-scoring game. I'm going to go the under and Seahawks to sneak one with a last-minute field goal.
I like the under as well. Last 5 meetings between these two in Seattle have hit the under. I like the under 44 as well on this one. But the Rams have also covered the last 4 in Seattle as well. So we shall see. Should be a good one. Hopefully we get a good game on Thursday Night Football. It's been a bit of an indifferent Thursday Night Football season, hasn't it, I think, this year. That's us done. Week 15 previews in the books. We only have 3 preview and review shows left, which is sad. Very sad. Yeah, I can't believe we're getting through another season of good teams with great teams cover. Anyway, we'll be back. We've got, hopefully, I've got a couple of good guests for you. We've got the Pats Pals joining us, Shane Brennan and Sky Lawrence, who run the Pats Pals podcast, are going to be joining us for the Week 16 preview. But yeah, check out the grand final of Mastermind dropping when I finally get finishing editing in the next day. I think that's the last day of editing, and then that'll be out some point. It's a little Christmas special, I guess.
Is this going to be like the dart where the 2025 winner is in 2026?
Yeah, definitely. There's some talk in it, like about I recorded one of them before the season started, and there's talk about that, which is just insane. So apologies to those guys, but it was a much bigger task to put together than I thought. So, but we got there in the end. But yeah, go follow all the socials at GTW_GTC, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok. I forgot one, but also follow the podcast to listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Overcast, and the video version available on YouTube. And we'll be back on Friday morning.